The Legal Resources Center is representing traditional communities in Limpopo who believe they're being treated unfairly. Community members say they are forced to pay taxes, levies and rates imposed by traditional councils and face harsh punishments if they are unable to comply. The application is being opposed by the traditional councils, the Limpopo Premier and the province's MEC for Traditional Affairs and Cooperative Governance. More on this, I'm joined by Wilmien Wicomb, who is with the Legal Resource Center. Thank you so much for making time for us, Wilmien. Why are these levies and taxes imposed in the first place? What's the reasoning?
So, good afternoon and thanks for having me. So the origin really of these particular kinds of taxes and rates and levies that all kind of come down to the same thing is really, you know, in apartheid times when traditional leaders were empowered by the apartheid government in a particular way to be kind of more government employees, and instead of paying them salaries, they allowed them to tax people. And, you know, you had the hut tax and the dog tax and all sorts of very controversial taxes emerging. Now, that practice in some of these communities have continued. And so people get taxed for different reasons, for just an annual tax that they don't know exactly what it's for, or for specific things, and very often things to do with perhaps the chief's wedding or something like that. The point is that these are in many communities being enforced as compulsory payments, and that means it's a form of tax, which is not something that traditional councils are allowed to do.
Are all families expected to pay up regardless of their financial standing? And when people fail to pay, what kind of punishment are we talking about here?
So our clients say, certainly in their communities, everyone is expected to pay, and of course we're talking very often here of very, very poor community members and women-headed households. The punishment for not paying is largely enforced when a member of the family passes away. Then the family is often denied burial rights. So either they have to back pay or pay fines for not paying the taxes, or in some instances bury a family member in the backyard. So there's real serious implications. And the other punishment often has to do with the proof of address letter that people need in order to apply for an identity document or, you know, a social grant. So it really goes to the core of basic human rights. And this is why these community members have approached the court.
Yeah, but Wilmien, in my understanding, the Constitution only empowers government to raise revenue through these compulsory and universal taxation. Where do these traditional authorities think they get the mandate and the authority to do so?
So you're entirely correct. The Constitution clearly only empowers elected government to raise taxes. The traditional councils say that they get the power from customary law. And that, you know, pre-colonially, that in terms of customary law, that the traditional leaders always receive tributes from their community members. And our clients completely agree with that. But they say the customary form of tribute is one that is voluntary. It is a tribute. It is a sign of your appreciation for what a leader is doing for the community. And so that is very different from a compulsory payment that can, you know, force you to bury a family member in the backyard. And that is in particular what their concern is. Yeah,
and the problem is if that's the case, really, why are people then being punished when they're not able to make up those payments? So you have now approached the courts, you know, to challenge this. What relief are you seeking?
So we are seeking an order from the court that it is unconstitutional for traditional councils to enforce, taxes, which is a compulsory payment. And we are asking the court to, you know, since everyone agrees that customary law makes provision for tributes, for voluntary payments to traditional councils, that the court orders that is what customary law requires. And so if you're not able to pay, that you cannot be punished in this way.
I see that government insists that all the levies in that province are both voluntary and as a result of a community consultation. Have they provided any evidence to back up this claim?
They have not a single community minute of a meeting or a single person who could give an affidavit saying that is the case. So that does seem like simply a bold denial. And our clients, certainly in their communities, that is not the case. And they have the receipts. They have the evidence.
Yeah.
But, you know, even if it is correct that many traditional councils don't enforce these payments and that they only accept voluntary contributions, well, then they have nothing to worry about. This litigation is only about compulsory payments and instances where people are punished.
Yeah, and the question is, why are they opposing it if they still insist that it's only voluntary? Are your clients not being victimized by the same traditional authority for speaking out and challenging this?
Very much so. And I must say that our clients are incredibly brave for standing up in this way. In fact, the two of the applicants have passed away since the litigation was launched, and both of them were severely punished for being a part of this litigation. Both of them could not get burial rights in their communities. So yes, for sure, it's a brave thing to do, to go to court and stand up against this.
Sure. Wow. Wilmien, thank you for making time for us this afternoon. Wilmien Wicomb is from the Legal Resources Center.